Well, we've made camp. And we are pretty soggy, so I think we're just gonna take a minute to just, I've closed the door because it's quite breezy, and I think the integrity of this shelter is better when it's you know, done up. Like with the Trail Star or the Cricket, it's kind of, you know, done up when it's not done up. So we've got water. We collected it on the way between Cut Hill and Fir Tor. There somewhere. Everything is wet. I've got a lot more pegs than I need with this shelter, because I haven't used any of the outer bungee cord things because I didn't bring the lines with me. Although I do have some emergency ones in my pack, but you know, as you can see, the sides are hardly coming in and killing me. So, although to be fair, we're in a reasonably sheltered spot here. So let's get everything out. My hands have gone really numb. You know, it might only be, you know, September, but that cold wind and rain, it has made my hands have gone very, very numb. So I think setting stuff up is probably going to take a little bit longer, because I can't even, trying to grab things is not easy. All right, let's try and get this ground sheet out. Whew. Okay. Hopefully everything, we have got, there's a little bit of a downward slope, but it's not too bad. Oh. All right, I'm going to get the ground sheet set up. I need the map later to figure out what I'm going to do tomorrow, because ideally tomorrow I want to get to Steeperton Tor. Everything in there looks great. I say the worst thing with my hands, they're just so cold. Right. Well, everything looks dry in there. So put that there. My mat, my airbag, that's wet. But what I have done recently is I've folded it inside out. So because I fold it inside out, it's not so wet on the bit that I'm using, it's more wet on the bottom bit. So, you know, so that's the front, so I fold it that way. I used to fold it the other way, then I was finding that it was getting, you know, quite wet. but doing it this way appears to have helped keep most of it dry. All right, I'm going to get this blown up, and then I think get my sleeping stuff out. The ground sheet is dry down here. The ground sheet is dry here. So once I've got this pumped up with air, I can sit on it and then slowly start getting out of this wet stuff. Well, the kettle is on, we're in bed, and my hands still haven't quite warmed up yet, but battery ran out. All right, yeah, so basically we're in camp. I've got a t-shirt on, which I kept dry, my wind shirt, which I kept dry by putting it in with the night stuff, and then my down jacket, and that's kind of helping my body to warm up. We've got the kettle on. I think that's coming up to I think that's going to be hot enough. We're starting, unfortunately, to get some water collecting in the porch, but you know, what can you do? It was dry when we got here, so I'm not going to worry about it. It's in the grass. It's not where we are. So we're going to have some soup, try and warm my hands up. They just feel like they've been they're cold, even though they're dry. They feel damp. They haven't really dried out yet. So we'll get some soup down, mate, and hopefully that will help warm me up a bit and try to get these hands a little bit drier. But we're dry and we're warming up. I didn't bring a towel, but what I did do, my hat, this beanie hat, I use that as a towel, and it was really just, you know, a little bit of dampness here and there. It wasn't too bad on the skin. All my clothes, apart from the shirt, top part of the shirt, which stayed dry, trousers, shoes, socks, underwear, very, very wet. Trousers particularly are just saturated. And I think this rain is forecast for all night and tomorrow morning. And I think it's going to ease, but still be raining, but ease at lunchtime. So the plan tomorrow is to, I think what we'll do is we'll go back to Cut Hill and then around sort of that way to Cranmere Pool, and then from there pick up the trail or the military track, and then that will take us up to Steeperton, and then we'll walk down the other side and into camp. And tomorrow evening it's supposed to be dry and not raining, hopefully, and also not windy. And I think the wind this evening is supposed to ease off as well, but it's fairly sheltered here. So we'll have this soup, and hopefully it's my hands. Like I said, for some reason they just feel, they still feel damp. They feel damp and numb. It's a very strange, not a very nice feeling. I mean, They're more dexterous now than they were when I got into camp, and I could barely do anything with them. And I checked the temperature and it was like 13 degrees out, so you know, not exactly freezing cold. And my hands still got quite cool in that. So I think now, moving forward, I'll start putting some gloves in. Oh, I seem to remember someone asking me if I could see pinholes. There's pinholes. I don't know if you can see them there and there, but no water is getting through them because I've sealed over them. Where I have just discovered a little leak is here. So I think I brought some sealant with me, so I'm just going to run a little bit of sealant over there because it's just dripping down there, and then there's a few drops getting on the end of the sleeping bag. So I'm just going to put a little bit of sealant there. I think it's, I don't know if it's just there or whether these drops here, but I'm thinking it's just here. But I'll probably just put some sealant on the inside, just all there, and hopefully that sorts that one out. Other than that, I think all other places are okay. I don't think there's water getting in anywhere else, so my sealing job that I did seems to be working pretty well. I think that's a drop outside there. Yeah, I think we're doing pretty well. I think it's just there, so I'm just going to put some there. Oh, and just in case anyone is interested, we're in a pretty soggy, wet, you can see the gas canister is under water there, and yeah, admittedly, you know, being raised up a bit more would be nice, and to be honest, I haven't sealed that, but you can see water under there. We'll monitor it, but I think it has been sealed there, hopefully, maybe. But I mean, you know, certainly in this, maybe more than in the cricket, to be fair, but because you've got the little clips and that does raise it up just a little bit. So yeah, that's it's working anyway. Like I said, it may not be you know, a very big bathtub, but you know, it's doing the job. Well, good morning. This is a little bit of a surprise, although it's not a surprise in that I was checking the forecast last night, and last night they were saying, sort of as the evening was moving in, that it was going to be less rain today, whereas early evening and late afternoon it was forecasting to rain until this evening. But one thing that the forecast showed was that when we got here, the wind was coming this way, which is from the north, something over there, northish, and it was just going to be coming that way continuously until this afternoon, and then at some point in the evening, early evening, whenever, it started coming from the south. It just changed almost like 12 hours earlier or something. So I was looking rather hopeful that today was actually going to be drier lunchtime rather than late afternoon, and then as the forecast went on, it then looked like it was going to be better in the morning. and this is even better than I expected, but I don't want to get my hopes up too high because I haven't had another look. But hopefully, I think today now is going to be, yeah, because I can feel the wind sort of coming sort of across this way now. It's definitely shifted earlier than was planned. Oh, so it's well, it's nearly, it's not quite, but nearly 8:30 now. But we got very wet yesterday. Everything that I was wearing was completely saturated. My shirt actually has got wetter since we got here somehow. I think just putting it with other stuff, it's got wet. So my shirt's wet through, my trousers are wet through, and my underwear. Basically, they're the three things that I would like to try and get some moisture out of. So kind of nice that it's dry. That wouldn't have been, you know, very much fun. Everything's the usual mess. I'll slowly start to tidy up. Ooh. The day is supposed to get even better, so I will have another look at the forecast in a minute, just to check. But my approximate plan, well, certainly as of last night, was to try and get going about lunchtime, which potentially gives upwards of, because given it's just gone 8, which gives upwards of 3 hours to try and get some of this clothing a little bit drier, and then go sort of that way round. Oh me. Yeah, we're going to go sort of Cut Hill, Black Hill, I think it's called, Cranmere Pool, and then from there to Steepleton, and then down into Cam. It's not very far, it's about 10 kilometers, but I think it's particularly probably from Cut Hill to Black Hill to Cranmere Pool. I haven't done that in a very long time, and I have a feeling from memory that that is a rough, very, very rough walk. But, you know, if we get going at lunchtime, 12, something like that, then we should get into camp by, you know, at the latest 5 o'clock, if it takes 5 hours, and it probably won't. I would imagine we would be marginally quicker than 2 kilometers an hour. I don't know, but we'll kind of see. We'll kind of see how it goes. But anyway, we're not in any rush. We're going to take our time, just relax. The diggers are over there. They've obviously been sleeping overnight. Oh god, they got their work cut out. Yeah, like I said, I don't really know what their ultimate goal is. I hope they don't make more. I hope they don't make more mess, as it were, than what they're planning on trying to sort out. I'm guessing that steep-sided valley through there, that is probably Tavy Cleeve through there, because then we would have walked along there, then along that way a bit, and then up, because that's Hare Tor over there, and then obviously Hare Tor, Shap Tor, and Chat Tor, that little one, and that's Great Links over there. It's just gone 11 and we still haven't packed up. We're really not in a rush. Looking at the forecast, there might be a shower coming in around about 1 o'clock, maybe 12:12. Maybe that bank of cloud over there will kind of see, you know, we'll kind of see what it does, but we're really not in a rush. We've just got to head over that way. So I'm half thinking, if I aim for one, which is still 2 hours away, if I aim for one to be going, and then if it's, you know, heavy rain at one, then I'll hold off a little bit. But if it's not too bad, then I just get going. So we'll kind of see, you know, we'll just kind of see how it goes really. But it's just, it's quite nice just relaxing here. I've got my clothes, you know, draped up here, my smalls and shirt. The shirt's drying quite well. I think the collar and the, you know, where the poppers are, is just taking a little bit longer, but it's getting there. I think the waterproof is for the most part dry. The trousers even are slowly starting to dry. I think the back had dried, you know, a little bit because I was hanging up from the back, so I've just strung it up from the front there, you know, and hopefully if we can maybe have another hour at least of no rain, then they will dry out. It looks a bit messy, but it's really not that bad. It's just a mat down there, pillow, obviously sleeping bag, mat, that's all that's there, and then just a few, you know, bits and bobs, you know, there. It's really not much. Most of it will fit in that bag there, which will then just go in the pack quite easily. So it's really not that bad. And then this is the Solomid XL setup. I don't know where this new craze has come in of putting lines on the top. Christ almighty, you're going to have a line coming down from a bloody helicopter before long. But yeah, you just need to peg it round the bottom. I've not even bothered using lines on the outside, to be fair, primarily because I didn't put any in. I forgot. I will put some in, but I do have some lines, emergency lines on me, a couple, so if I'd have felt they were needed. But then it wasn't windy last night, so. And to be fair, you know, they're all on bungee cords anyway, so I really do think that the effect that they have, given that they're on bungee lines, that allows it to flex, you know, in and out, kind of tells you the importance of a shelter that needs to flex in the wind. I'm doing my "and the name of the Father and the Son," you know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've never heard anything at all, but I can't help but think they're put there for people psychologically, you know, to think that they've got a more secure tent, whereas it's probably perfectly fine without them. You know, maybe the one at the back helps, you know, marginally, maybe. I'm still really not convinced that they're really needed. So I'm pretty sure that one's Great Miss Tour over there. I'm sure that's Great Miss Tour. I don't think we looked at those. There's 3 tours over there, although one of them might be Bagger Tour, I'm not sure. So I don't know whether we might have walked past those when we were heading through Tavy Cleeve and then up that way. I've never really walked down. I mean, there probably isn't really anything in that valley, but to be fair, I haven't really explored this valley area down in there. I've obviously come across here and I've come across here, but I've never really been down in sort of in that valley down there. That might be worth a wander one day. There's some flat areas down there, whether they're any good or not I don't know, but there's some flat areas down there